Welcome back to Books with Teddy. Today we are discussing The Housemaid is Watching by Freida McFadden, the third book in the Housemaid trilogy. This will be a full discussion with spoilers, and I'll mostly talk about the ending, the twists, and what I thought of those, and all of that good stuff. If you have not read the books, I recommend checking out my other videos on the Housemaid Secret, or my review on The Housemaid is Watching. Other than that, let's dig in and talk about The Housemaid is Watching. So, as I said in my review, which I gave this book a 5.6, I believe, whereas both the other books were in the mid-8s. I thought this book was a significant step down from the other books, and one of the reasons was how obvious Jonathan was as at least one of the bad guys in the book. I mean, the pattern, right? And Freida's book, I've only read these 3 Housemaid books, but the pattern's been pretty clear where the person who starts out nice ends up the big bad. Although in this case there were multiple, bads, with Suzette kind of being aware of what Jonathan was doing, but I did not expect that Jonathan had killed Braden, the other missing kid. So that was a surprise to me when that came up. But I do want to step back with the Nico thing, because it felt like this book was going to go somewhere dark. And killing Braden obviously is, that the other boy is obviously almost as dark as you can go. But it seemed like we were building to, let's just say, Jonathan not just having Nico play with toys and like watching him in the camera. And it felt very weird, though, that Jonathan could take a step back from what he did to Braden with Nico, at least for the time being. Someone like that, and I've said this about some other book, it seems like would struggle just after having done what he did to Braden, to just watching Nico and expecting Nico to keep his mouth shut. All just very risky for someone who got away with at least one murder in the past. He did for a while. And I really liked Enzo and Millie's relationship. I didn't like that was Millie. Millie was really jealous in the sense of like, I wouldn't want someone, I was in a relationship, to be thinking like that or be very jealous like that. But I did like that as far as the way her character was written, because it made her feel more real. Although I think Millie's felt pretty real throughout all the books and grounded. But that was just an interesting dynamic, that the marriage wasn't perfect. Like I almost would have expected between her and Enzo. Now, they still had a great marriage. I don't think it was toxic or anything like that, but it was just interesting to see that wrinkle. But the ending. This ending was a complete mess to me. It made no sense at all. Where do I start? I suppose I should start with Enzo. I think you could make a case for Enzo taking the fall at the very outset, when he first discovers it's Ada and the police come. Okay, I get that. But how does no one talk to Ada enough about it? I guess mainly Millie and Enzo, to realize she actually didn't kill the man. Now, she could still, even if she didn't, be in trouble for that, but that gets to the the real issue with the ending, which I just thought was so stupid. You know, the what's the guy's name, Ramirez, I think. You know, he tells Millie that, you know, they found blood in this little room at Jonathan and Suzette's. The police have, so they're going to discover it's Braden's blood. So what reason is there at that point for Enzo to be taking a fall? I mean, that just seems like the most open and shut, hey, I was defending myself from this sicko by Ada ever. There's just absolutely no reason for Enzo to still be in that situation. And, you know, if they would have went to the police, you know, right then and said, you know, yes, Ada did this, look at, you know, Enzo should be let go. And I get that's kind of still scary, but instead they come up with this just absolutely stupid plan to get Suzette to confess, which she does, but it makes no sense. They don't need Suzette to confess. I just, yeah, I did not think that ending made any sense at all. They just flat out did not need Suzette at all. If they know Jonathan's this murderer has murdered a child before, I mean, does anybody really think they're going to punish Ada for defending herself? No. And she didn't even feel hit the death blow. So that was just, you know, I've rambled on about it enough, but yeah, not for me. Now, the Martha twist of her landing the death blow I thought was interesting. Because I was wondering, I thought it was going to be Suzette, because when we were in Ada's thoughts and, you know, she was taking us through it, and, you know, I think we all noticed that she said she like stabs him in the stomach and twists or something like that, but we knew earlier that Jonathan had his throat slit. So I thought Suzette maybe stepped in and, not out of the goodness of her heart to like help Ada, but for her own selfish wants, finish the job, as she figured this would be a good, you know, cover up. So Martha Twist was interesting, but it really didn't save anything for me as far as the ending goes, because the fact that, you know, it just, the truth never really came out, and it easily could have, and there was no reason they needed Suzette. So anyways, I don't want to keep bitching about it, but I'm very interested to hear everybody else's thoughts on this ending. Like I said, overall the trilogy was great. I'm definitely going to pick up some more Freida McFadden books, check those out, but this was definitely the weakest book for me. So let me know what you think in the comments. If you've watched this long, I appreciate it, and I hope to see you soon.